Ooh, a problem I always have is that I always get chased by all these ladies. Oh, that's why you carry a sledgehammer. Oh, you beat them. You knock them down. Oh, look at that. Oh, that'll save your bacon one more time. Oh, yep, yeah, let's do that. Yep. Oh, yeah. And of course, we are looking at the awesome sledgehammer and what mods it can or should take to make it more effective. You see here, normal attack and a power attack. Ooh, bam, you wouldn't want to be hit in the head with that one, would you? So this is part of my series where I go through weapons and armor and equipment and let you know what I think I would mod it with in order to make it as effective as possible. You might have a different idea, then let me know in the comment section below what you would do instead and how you use it effectively. But first, before we could dive into that, we're going to make a couple of changes to the clubhouse here, the Vedite Community Clubhouse. Firstly, we welcome hello to Hitman for upgrading to become a gamer Vedite. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate the support. We also have a new supporter, D. Brouillard. Sounds French. Sorry if I mispronounced that terribly, but thank you very much for your support. It is very much appreciated. And last but not least this time is Septon, one of the old-time gamers I've been playing with for quite a long time actually. He has upgraded to Master Vedite and is actually sponsoring one of our Ark Survival Evolved servers. Thank you very much for the support, Septon. He joins Clip and Vicious Violet here. Thank you very much everyone for your support. Well, let's come back to this sledgehammer and the mods. Ooh, it is really awesome. And it looks like this really massive weapon, which of course it is. It is one of the highest damage dealers at all in the game and definitely for melee. So for the sledgehammer, we actually have three versions. We have the stone, we have the iron, and we have the steel. I am going to focus on the steel. It's going to be very similar for the iron. The stone maybe not as much, and I'll show you why. Let's look a little bit here of the normal iron reinforced club, and then we'll look at the stone sledgehammer. And if you notice, it's actually very, very similar. The melee damage is the same, the attacks per minute is roughly the same. There's some difference in the power attack and the block damage, but it's not huge. And of course, block damage doesn't normally matter very much. And the same goes for the tier 6. You look here, power damage, slight difference. Block damage, of course, the sledgehammer does more damage, but stamina, attacks per minute, etc. is very similar. But that changes. So basically, in effect, the iron reinforced club and the stone sledgehammer are very, very similar, which is a little bit weird. Now, but if we compare then the stone with the iron, you'll see immediately that the damage goes up quite considerably. And you'll see that the stamina cost goes up and the attacks per minute goes down. And that is maintained as we go to the steel sledgehammer. The attacks per minute, meaning it's a slow weapon, has a high stamina cost, is it's the same on the iron and the steel, but it's not the same on the stone. So it's a little bit of a weird thing, but it is what it is. So we're not going to focus on the stone this time. We're going to look at the steel, and it's probably going to be pretty much the same for the iron. So take what I say as also applying for the iron if you have it. In some cases, if you're early game, you're using the stone one, of course, you probably don't have a lot of mods, so just stick whatever you have. But you probably want to transition up to the iron and the steel anyway, because you see the damage, 26, 45, and 68. It's like almost 3 times as much damage. You definitely want to go to iron and steel. Now I've sorted these into a few different tiers. The bottom one is things that actually is good for resource collection. If you have them on, it could be okay, but you know, they're not mainly used for the weapons, but you can put them on. And we have the Bunker Buster, Iron Breaker, Gravedigger, and the Wood Splitter. If you have nothing else, put them on. One above is the Structural Brace, which increases the durability on the melee weapon or tool. Not hugely important, but any mod will increase your damage. We also have the Hunter mod. If you're doing PvP, it might be useful, but again, if you're doing PvP, you probably want to have guns instead. One tier up is the Ergonomic Grip Mod. This one can actually be useful if you're having a stamina issue, because it does decrease the melee stamina usage by 10%. So from that perspective, it can be useful if you have nothing else. But coming to the top tier, which is quite interesting because there's only 4 mods left that actually fit. We have the Fortifying Grip Mod, and this one is really useful as always because it will heal you if you're below 50% hit points. Weighted Head, of course, it's a heavy sledgehammer. This one will add a chance to stun and slow victims, which is really good. Burning Shaft Mod, set them on fire. It does give light, so if you're trying to sneak around, probably best to not use this one, but it can set them on fire as well, which can be useful to deal some extra damage. And we have the Rad Remover. It will disable the regeneration ability of Radiated Zombie for 90 seconds. Some people don't actually find this extremely useful. I generally do use it because it means that you can focus on killing and attacking whichever zombie is most appropriate without having to track them. The problem with the Radiated otherwise is that if you are fighting in a horde, you beat one, you run off. Well, which one did you just beat that was radiated? Well, you probably won't know because there's another 5 or 10 or 20 depending how big the horde is. And that's the problem with radiated, because by the time you then start hitting it again, by chance, if there's 5 of them, then he'll already have healed up probably quite considerably. So you want to make sure that they don't heal up while you're bashing all the zombies, because you can go and bash, run away, come back, turn around, and you can just slam them again and then keep running, because otherwise they're just going to gang up on you. And from that perspective, I love the Rad Remover Pro because it will disable their regeneration for 90 seconds. But looking at a lowly tier 1 or quality 1 Sledgehammer, unfortunately it has only 1 mod slot, and this is where you have to decide what you want to do. Here, I would probably not worry about the Rad Remover because early on, you probably don't see a lot of them, so that's not a big issue. Burning Shaft mod could be useful if you want to have a light source. This one is actually really good if you're at the nighttime and you don't worry about the zombies not seeing you. But otherwise, I would probably use the Fortifying Grip mod because you probably don't have really good armor. So healing up can be very useful. If you don't have this one, I would probably do the weighted head mod. And if you don't have that, then of course you can take anything else that you want. Coming up to quality 3, we now have 2 mod slots, and I would still put on the Fortifying Grip mod because healing is really useful. For the second mod slot, I would go for the weighted head because it will stun and it will slow the zombies down, and that gives you more time to get away, reset, or just pummel them more. As we're up to quality 5, we now have 3 mod slots. I would put on Fortifying Grip mod, weighted head, and I would probably actually put on the Rad Remover, because even though the Burning Shaft mod is good, by then it is situational. If you're trying to sneak at night, having the Burning Shaft mod will give away your location, which can be really problematic because all the zombies will come and attack you. Interestingly though, you can actually put another Structural Brace mod as well as the Fortifying Grip mod. It's a little bit interesting because most weapons don't work that way, but this one could be useful as well if you find yourself running out of durability, but generally you shouldn't. Make sure you repair it before going into a battle. And at quality 6, if you find this, buy it or loot it or whatever because you can't craft it, I will just take all the top ones because, well, those are the top ones. It means that you will heal slowly, you will have a chance to stun and slow victims, you will set them on fire or have a chance to set them on fire, and they will not heal. And those work pretty well with the rest of the perks. So if you have all the perked up, you will do 300% headshot damage, which is massive. You have a 50% chance, greater chance to dismember with the Sledgehammer, also really good. You go to Skull Crusher, you go down to number 5, you will deal 50% more damage, and power attacks do 200% more damage to stun enemies. You have a 100% chance to knock them down, most of them, I think demolishers maybe not, and a 60% power attack to a chance to knock down nearby foes, and I'll show that. Here we have a bunch of them, and if I go in and hit them in the head, ooh, massive damage, and now he's on fire. So this is what it means by 100% chance to knock them down, and that can be really useful if you're fighting one-on-one. Of course, there might be more than one, and that's why you do the heavy attack. You'll see more of them fell down. Let's do another one. You'll see all of them fell down. It takes a while for them to actually get up, and some of them are burning. And that's really what saves you with the Sledgehammer. You knock down a group of them, then the nearby ones will not be chasing you. Oh, and of course, glancing blows will do some damage. You can also set them on fire. Oh, and of course, you can knock their heads off. Really, really useful. So the biggest benefit of the Sledgehammer is really the area of effect damage they can deal with. So I have now a Blood Moon Horde, and they are coming from the front, which is good. And we'll see them run in here. Now, if they start grouping up, you actually can use the Sledgehammer to pretty good effect, because you can actually see they knock down and they all fall down. And then you can hit them again for extra damage, but you can also back up, which is useful, and just keep on sledging them. And then you run past them, of course, because you want to make sure that you don't get trapped. Run past again. And this is really where it helps to have the rat remover, because you don't have to focus on one specific zombie. And I'm still taking a fair bit of damage. The downside of this one, even though that does help, is that of course you have to be close by like any melee weapons. They are being set on fire, which is helpful, but I'm not really sure whether it's as good as the knuckle irons, because that one really slams them because it got such a fast attack. This one doesn't have as fast attack, and one bash of them is not going to kill them. And that's a problem for the Sledgehammer. I have really good armor, I got really good skills, but you'll see I'm still losing a fair bit of health points here, even though I'm being fairly mobile. So it can be an issue. You can use the moonshine, and that one will also help. Let's see if I can hit them here. I just can't see very well, but it does give you a lot of extra damage mitigation, which helps. And then you can survive the horse a lot better. But you know, so do you hit the left one or the right one? Or there, I think there are two of them, if I'm not wrong. And right now, it's not the Sledgehammer that necessarily is saving me. It's actually the moonshine, because it does damage mitigates me so heavily. I think it's something like, oh, damage mitigation 50%. Oh, but otherwise, you know, keep moving, don't stand still, and just try to hit them, and then move again. And you notice I'm not in God mode here, but as soon as they get close, I just can't deal with them effectively, because I might hit one if I use a normal attack, but that's not enough to kill them. And using the heavy attack, it's just so slow. Look at this, and I'm bleeding now as well. This is just with 8 concurrent zombies, and I probably could survive this, but you have to be mobile, and you have to make sure you're healing up. Compared to the knuckle irons, where you literally could just go toe to toe with all the zombies, because you hit so fast, you can just keep knocking them back and knocking them down. So Sledgehammer, maybe in groups, but if you're in a fortified position, it's even better. Here it is a little bit of a challenge. So I'm just gonna run away. I'll catch y'all next. Oh, let's see what. Oh yeah, always need some cash.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.